It's the most wonderful time
For a beer. Although, an Oktoberfest beer isn't exactly what I had in mind. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to yet another Christmas beer, though this one feels like it should have been brought out back in September. This is from German brewery Pschorr, or Pschorr, I can never pronounce it right. This is their Superior FESTBIER, and yes, that is right, it is their Superior Oktoberfest beer. Slightly bizarre that it's only just become available, and well, I've got good reason to believe it is a distinctly Christmas release this time round. But yeah, all a little bit odd, but nonetheless, I'm quite looking forward to it. Now, earlier this year, I covered all of the Oktoberfest beers, reviewed them all in great detail, and to be honest, the Pschorr was a little bit of a letdown, primarily, I think, because of these swing tops. They seem to let a bit too much gas out. The one I reviewed was frankly quite awful. The other one that I had and drank later was, well, it was okay, actually. It was pretty good, but not significant. It wasn't going to jump to the top of the ranks. It still had some issues. So I was a little bit hesitant about buying this, but on the flip side, a few people in the comments of my Pschorr video had said that what we had in bottles as their Fest beer for this year isn't actually what they released at Oktoberfest. Now, I tried to do a bit of research on this and I couldn't really come to a solid conclusion as to whether that was true or not, but when they brought this out, their Superior Fest beer, quite a bit after Oktoberfest had finished, I was a bit curious. Is this what they were actually serving there at the time? I still don't know, but it's definitely an intentional Christmas release, because before we get into it, a quick look at the bottle, and you can see that's distinctly a snowy skyline there. It's, yeah, there's snow on the rooftops, there's snow on the bottle. I do believe they've released this previously at a different time of year without that kind of effect, so I'm not sure what's going on this year. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to glean much information from the back of the bottle, given that it'll all be in German, but it looks good nonetheless. Now then, the bit that I'm always excited about with a swing cap top. Are you ready? I can't help but blink. It's always terrifying, but that made a beautiful sound. Now, if that doesn't look like a cracking pint of Fest beer, I don't know what does. Nice, beautiful, golden, crisp colour to it. Big, thick head. They did describe their Fest beer before as a Marzen, however we're going to pronounce it, which in general are just slightly darker. This one distinctly pale. I'll be honest, I can't remember what colour or shade the last one was, but this is more in line with some of the others that just call themselves a Fest beer rather than a Marzen. But anyway, doesn't matter. It looks fantastic, and well, the aroma already in the room has improved since opening the bottle, so let's give this a go. Nice, big, bready malt. The hops coming through as well. It's certainly not zesty, it's certainly not piney, but it's got this kind of woody, heathery twang. So yeah, it smells absolutely fantastic. Right then, let's top this up, because there was a little bit left in there. Let's get into it, shall we? Cheers. Merry Christmas. Okay, so it is, without doubt, a superior version of their Fest beer. The hallmarks of that original beer are absolutely still in there, but it feels a bit more malty, a bit more amped up, a bit more warming, perhaps a few hints of spice going on. I didn't actually cover the ABV on this. This is 6% on the nose, which either is exactly the same or just a couple of points higher than their previous version for this year. However, the problem that that previous one had is still very much evident in this. It's slightly undercarbonated. This isn't a glass with the ditties at the bottom. It's a proper German tankard. It should still be very fizzy, well, relatively fizzy at this point, and once again, I'm a few sips in and it already feels a little bit flat, which is a real shame, but the beer itself is very nice. There's lots going on. It's sweet, it's bitter, it's edgy, it's got some floral notes. Well, herby notes is probably closer. A little bit of warming spice, as I said. It's not distinct, but it's kind of like maybe background cinnamony kind of thing. But yeah, very nice indeed. Let's give it a proper top to bottom taste test. So initially, right on the tip of the tongue, really low carbonation, touch of malt sweetness, but nothing too distinct. And unfortunately, it does have a slight metallic twang. Now, that's not always an off note in beers of this style, but in this, it's not really doing a lot for me. But anyway, on to the first third of the tongue. The malt develops, becomes a little bit biscuity, a little bit more acute. There's quite a distinct bitterness that starts to creep in, and with it, some of those actually more warming tones, that kind of subtle, soft spice, cinnamon, maybe it's peppery. It's the flavour of the spice itself really is not distinct enough, at least for me, to pick out. But there is this warming sensation that feels maybe, I mean, it might just be the ABV, but it's high, but it's not that high really. So yeah, there's something going on there, but it's a nice warming sensation. Over to the kind of full mid palate then. As with most beers of this style, a lot of the flavours wash away. There's kind of reminiscence of everything we've already talked about, but that mineral quality, the water, the minerally element really come out, shine. The water quality, clearly fantastic, but it's a bit of a breaker. There's not a huge amount going on. Then onto the back of the tongue. Prickly bitterness again. The hops really getting involved. There's tiny citric edge to them, but it's not very strong. But there is it's an almost dankness that you'd expect out of a New World hop in a big, proper dank American IPA. It's there, but again, it's muted, it's low down, slightly piney, slightly resinous is the right word, really, what we're dealing with here. Resinous hop note. It definitely makes it feel much more of a refreshing beer rather than a big, strong, bready, malty fest beer, but it's not a bad thing. It's got balance for sure. And then onto the aftertaste. Kind of crackery malt. It's never really got bready on the flavour. With that slight spice thing, I'm leaning more towards pepper now, and kind of think about kind of like, pepper biscuits for cheese. That I mean, we're talking nonsense really at this point, but it's what it's reminding me of. And finishes off with some slightly lighter honey notes and something that's, well, very kind of triggering to your saliva. It gets the juices flowing, gets you ready to go back in for another sip. The taste profile on this is actually very, very good. I'd love to be more excited about it, but you can see already. Look at that in the glass. That is, the conditioning is just poor, really. There is carbonation in there. You can see it if I really go for it, but it's not going to stick around, and all that's done really is just made it even flatter. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing with their conditioning when they send these bottles out, but they need to do it in a different way, because that's 3 for 3 now, and I really like what they do, but it's such a disappointment when it turns up like this. So yeah, I'm really going to have to question whether I'm going to buy any more in this format. Right then, let's take a quick look at this beautiful looking bottle, at least, to see if we can work out anything else from it. So put the cap back on. And then, oh, it's all in German. It is absolutely all in German. Let me see if I can get a translator on the go real quick.
A few moments later.
Okay, we've got it. It says, as festive as the name, so are the ingredients with the taste of our superior. The finest malts meet every hop variety under the tradition hop family and ensure a voluminous, don't think that's a direct translation, full-bodied enjoyment with floral attack and robust finish. This makes every day a joy. Floral, I did mention it once, but it's definitely more resinous to me, kind of resinous and kind of maybe the floral notes you get from honey sometimes. It's not a properly floral beer by modern standards, but maybe when you just consider those kind of traditional hop varieties, then it absolutely is. No surprise that the ingredients are simply water, malt, hops and yeast, but there you go, there is a bit of information about it. And what it was interesting actually is that when I looked this up online, there was no information on their website. You certainly couldn't buy it directly from them. I got this from beer merchants, I believe, in the UK. I'm not sure whether they've still got it, but it wasn't particularly expensive, and it did pique my curiosity. But that sad state of affairs is a bit of a ruiner. So look, if you really like your German fest beer styles, you feel like you're missing out a few months down the line and you can still get this, it is worth a go. But be aware that, yeah, it's probably not one to save for your best on Christmas Day, because the conditioning on that is probably good enough to upset Santa himself. But that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Merry Christmas. Cheers.